Hi, everybody. It's Victor Hamza, and you're watching a channel called The Spiritual Scientist. Thanks for tuning in. Just wanted to do another episode with you, and someone commented in a chat, Victor, I like, they said, Spiritual Scientist, I like your short videos. So let's keep this one short, shall we? The title of this one's called The Fake Blood Moon. What do I mean? Just seems fake to me because if you want to say put my game on, if what are you talking about? Fake blip. If I'm talking about everything being real and what's not real, what is not real? Everything's not real. Is everything real or is everything not real? We're 99% empty space, and that 1% that they can't even find a one other percent, right? So it was a few years ago, 2015, I started coming across, these blood moons. I got really excited. I said, blood moon? I don't remember in 2015 hear about these blood moons before. And I thought they were very spiritual. I started getting more spiritual. I said, that would be a good time to really push it for spirituality, really do some fasting, really praying. I know this is a big deal. I don't remember any blood moons before. And then there was some more blood moons, and then there were four blood moons in a row. I held up four fingers. So I said, how could there be four blood moons in a row? Okay. And I researched it, and I found out that Jesus was born on a blood moon and died on a blood moon. And I never remembered hearing about any of those things. So it just seems to me that these things kind of seem fake. Or it's kind of contrived, like something to make us, push towards spirituality more. Um, and like all these dates, like 2012, and all the dates that you see, seem to, push us to be more spiritual, which is good. I mean, it's good to have a date. It's good to have, okay, by this date, I'm going to lose weight. Okay, New Year's resolution. By this date, I'm going to do this. By this date, I'm going to do something. Now, after the blood moon, we're going to have a grand conjunction. Is that the end of the world? Is that the apocalypse? What's going on? I watched this morning. I got up and said, oh, there was a great white shark, like 26 feet, biggest one ever. So I'm like, okay. So, and who's in the water with the great white shark but someone named Ocean? Okay, I'm like, that's not real. There's nobody named Ocean swimming with a 26-foot great white shark. Come on. You can't tell me that that's. Hi, Sylvie. You can't tell me that that's the real deal, right? Good coffee. Decaf. It's late. So, put a little shot in it, little shot, little shot. It's good. So I just said, that can't be real. Someone named Ocean swimming with a shark off of Hawaii. And then, so I was like, testing things out myself. I said, let me do a test. Okay? I'm going to share this with you. So I said, let me do a test. I'm going to pretend, I'm going to imagine I'm Googling basketball. And let's see if it comes up in my feed. And I never Google basketball. So I just pictured myself typing in the words basketball. Okay, and then on my Google feed, and I, say look at news and everything. And I went to search, and at the bottom there was an article about basketball. And who actually wrote the article was somebody named Ball, was his last name. I'm like, okay, that's freaking fake. That doesn't make sense. Uh, you know, now, what's going on? So time sped up. Um, and here where I'll get scientific for you a minute. So somebody was asking me about this video that I deleted because it just kind of bugs me out too much. But 20% of the atmosphere around the Earth is gone. Time sped up. the turbulence that a lot of planes feel is actually a lot of air turbulence actually ends up being, as I understand it, sorry, I'm having a little Wi-Fi trouble, and I didn't want to go back in my cold basement because I'm freezing, and it's gonna have bad snowstorm here up north in the United States pretty soon, so that's tomorrow. Anyway, so we have some time waves happening. And if you want to get really scientific about it, because this is a spiritual scientist channel, the if time's speeding up in the atmosphere, we're 20 miles less atmosphere between us and outer space. And if you want to ask me how I know that that's the case, you can, but that's real. So as time equals mc squared, as time actually would be, our vibration would be increased and time would be speeding up, um, things would be looking different to us. So that's why a lot of things seem red shifted. And if you want perspective, maybe that's why we're seeing red blood moons now, because time seems red shifted because you have red shift and blue shift. So if red shift is us speeding up through time, our vibrations getting higher, then actually the blood moons would be more prevalent. If you want a scientific, to me, it's all gobbledygook. But if you, well, I'm right against the radiator, I'm getting hot, and I put a little shot in my coffee, and it's making me hot. So to me, that's what's going on. So these blood moons could be a side effect of the time dilation. I got you laughing about that. Yeah, it's hot. The time dilation factor, okay? And I'm not talking titillation, but titillation. Don't get excited. So, there, make you laugh. So we have a lot of time dilation factors going on with redshift. So a lot of people reporting before that their redshifts. My face is getting redshifted because I'm hot against the radiator. And this coffee, poof, that's a good shot of whiskey in it. There's a red shift going on, around with a lot of things that we see. So a lot of people are saying that it doesn't seem like you're getting, it doesn't make sense with the films being changed. I did post something before, but I deleted it with NASA footage coming out with, didn't NASA footage has pink and red shifts. If you look at NASA footage, you could Google it. I actually had a video, I deleted it. I keep deleting these videos because it really bugs me out. But the first NASA moon landing, when you go and it's about 10 minutes, I've watched the whole thing. And about 3 minutes in, you'll see everything gets red shifted. The whole video turns pink and red. It's crazy. So as we stretch away from the past, we could be red shifting and seeing things in the past turning more red in actually films and things like that. But yeah, what you were commenting, I didn't see anything till 2015 about anything about blood moons. That would lend itself to be that we were in 2011 and 2012, we could have sped up faster. And like I mentioned about this before, if you ever watch the movie Lucy, which I like, Luke Benson did a great job with it. He did a lot of other cool movies, Multipass, a lot of cool movies, and The Fifth Element I'm referring to. And at the end, they're talking about if you're in a car and go, you're going faster and faster, all of a sudden you seem to disappear. Well, if we raised our frequency high enough, I don't think we would have, um, you know, translated away from like just popped somewhere else. We would have brought everything with us, because if you talk about spooky action from a distance and the supersymmetry, that we would have dragged our reality, along with us. Being that we're in the Orion Spur, not the Sagittarius arm anymore. I calculated out that we were 125,000 years into the future. Um, that seems to be that if you look at a star chart and where we are in conjunction, in conjunction, in relation to where we were before, and the spatial dynamics of it, that would make somewhat a sense. Also, if the um, black hole in the center of the galaxy had a time wave that would happen, and all of a sudden we skip forward, that would make sense too. Um, there's another big theory I have about everything, and I've been mentioning about it, but I'll if we still have a reality after the blood moon and this conjunction, maybe I'll talk about it. But it's a mind blowing theory, and let's have a little more coffee whiskey. Mm-mm-mm. I even put a little honey in it. It's good stuff. And I have to say, this one of my favorite mugs. This was made by someone someone who does this for a craft. It wasn't bought in a store. That's some of my favorite stuff that people actually make with their hands. I always look out for that stuff and buy it and use it. And then I like, I hate like stuff like, if it's something that's made, it just ends up being so much better. And our forefathers, um, who did all the woodworking and those crafts, we need to get those back. I mean, America was great, because we had all that ingenuity, and we built. Yeah, it's a hot toddy. We built all those things with the furniture and everything. We took a lot of pride in what we did. I think we need to get back to that, and then we could charge whatever you want for furniture and things like that when it's made right, and coffee mugs and things like that, and just sell it. Anyway, sorry to get off on that rant. But what was I saying? I was talking about blood moons. So these blood moons, hot. Take off my hat. Push my head down, but my hair down. But blood moons just seem fake. It all seems fake. When somebody says their name's Ocean, talking about a 26-foot shark, and then I pretend to Google basketball, and someone wrote an article named Ball about basketball, and it pops up in my feed. And okay, so I met a client, something I did during the week, and his first name was Nimrod. So I'm like, okay, it's an unusual name. Maybe it's a sign. I remember there was a king named Nimrod in the Bible, and he was a strong person in the Bible. So his name's Nimrod. He said, call me Nim. I said, okay. Called him Nim, helped him out. Okay, said I accepted it. Next day, got a phone call. And this guy said, okay, my name's Nashinarad. He's like Indian guy. I said, okay. He said, call me Nim. Totally different guy. I'm like, okay, Nim. And I'm sending him an email and typing in, hi, Nim. And I have another email to going out to somebody else like, hi, Nim. And I'm like, what are the odds that in 2 days that I have two clients, both with calling themselves the first name Nim, Nim? What are the odds? That just seems fake. It's just all these, I keep getting these synchronicities and keep getting these things. And it just gets so, it's like if your vibration gets high, it's like things vibrate, and you have something that vibrates in your reality, like I said before, and it just vibrates. It goes ping, and then it sets off waves, and then you get like a bounce effect on the other side. It goes ping, and it bounces back like an echo. You're like, okay, that kind of that theory makes sense. But when it happens to you in real life and it keeps happening to me over and over, if I think, manifest, I think basketball, and all of a sudden I have it in my feed basketball. I was doing a test, and it happens. It's like urology. It's like cycling. It's like bing. If we start thinking, time's speeding up, or it is speeding up, and then all of a sudden we start seeing blood moons, and now there's four blood moons. It just seems like, when our vibrational frequency, the only way I can make sense of it is the vibrational frequency, when that raises, that's what's really going on. And I truly believe, having a higher vibration is a good thing. And I'm gonna sign off in a minute unless somebody wants me to talk about something. But the only other thing I was going to talk about was that, someone was in another chat. Supposedly all these spiritual people were talking about, going to these Facebook posts, and they're all saying the same thing. And I feel like, you and they're like, oh, there's a, eclipse of the moon. It's a good time to everybody get together and pray for a shift. And you want your life to change, you want everything to change, you want to shift to another reality. It's a great time to, shift in the future, shift our timeline, they said specifically. And I comment, I'm like, do we really need to shift any more timelines? I'm kind of tired of shifting timelines. And they're laughing. They're like, ha 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 ha. Ha. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm serious. I'm tired. I'm done. I don't know if I should say this, but I kind of feel like I'm done with shifting timelines. Like, let's just, if you want your life to get better, just make it better where you are. I don't know if shifting timelines is such a great idea anymore. So it just gets confusing. But that someone preliminal? Is that what your name, right? You asked, anybody wants to comment on this? If you ever remembered any since 2014, for me it was 2000. I'm pretty sure it was 2015. Was the year that I came across blood moons, and I was like, blood moon. There's a blood moon coming up. I mean, I remember them saying, the shifting. I remember them saying there was a blue moon. I was like, oh, I mean, I kind of remember that. I remember there was a blue moon, and there was nothing about blood moons. And I was going to talk about this real quick. One thing that was really bothering me. And people refer to it as an old Earth versus new Earth. I don't think we switched Earths. I don't know, but September 2015. That's the one I remember. Honestly, is the blood moon I remember. In case people aren't reading these chats, which I don't think you are. But I was gonna comment. Like, to me, I remember, October it would get cold. In November, by November 15th, it would start snowing here in the Northeast, and it would snow, and it would snow till about December, 31st. It would snow, and then it would snow just into January a little bit, maybe January 5th, and it would stop snowing, and then it would start getting warmer, okay? And by February, people would be, putting on, taking off their winter clothes and putting on, their spring clothes. And by March, beginning of March, you could walk around in t-shirts, okay? That's what was happening. And that was weather. And now, here in the Northeast, it's about to snow, and we're in January, middle of January. We're about to have a snowstorm. And now it goes until March, really, and then April, and it goes past the spring solstice when spring's starting, which is super depressing. But I 100% remember that it always got cold. Like October 15th, it started snowing. November, December, and then January it ended the snows, and then we started going around and started getting warmer and warmer. So the seasons changed, among everything else. And recently now we have these circular, you could Google it. There's a circular ice patch now. There's round, there were square ones. Now there's a round one. Uh, yeah, the weather's been delayed at least 6 weeks, if not 2 months, and it's bothersome. So the Earth has shrunk, all the cotton has changed shape. Uh, the the Earth recently, this was about 4 months ago. We lost 20%. We lost 20 miles of atmosphere, and you could still find residual if you go look on the web about what the Earth, although it's maybe disappearing, what the diameter of the atmosphere was versus what it is now. I did it before. I was taking a lot of screenshots of it, but I just, it's just too much. But anyway, so as time speeds up, matter shrinks together. So that would answer that question and why we have time waves. And I was starting to mention that that's why we have a lot of turbulence with everything. And as you travel away from the Earth and you get to outer space, you're if you're losing, certainly, gravity. And then there was the thing about how you're in outer space, and when you're in outer space, there was zero gravity. Now you still have your weight in space, um, which is pretty crazy. But if you look back, you'll see what I'm talking about. But if you were in space and you could hit something, break a rib, you would still be having the same inertia, but you'd smack into something, you still have the same mass, which does make sense. But before, nobody was talking about that, and is my point. And then I started saying and commenting that if there was a asteroid going through our, part of our planetary bodies, and it would just, people are saying, oh, it's just going to shoot out into deep space. I'm like, why do they always shoot out into deep space? Why wouldn't this one circle back? And I was trying to, track its trajectory, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about inertia. I'm like, uh-huh. um anyway, thanks for tuning in. I was trying to make this a short one. It's 23 minutes, and my apologies. I tend to ramble on. Maybe the whiskey and the coffee did something to that effect. But cheers. Thanks for watching. Have a great blood moon. Maybe I'll do another video tonight. I'll probably be snowed in and see if I could stop myself from doing one. But anyway, if I do, thanks. If not, you have my face to remember what the blood moon looks like, because I'm turning red and I'm right on a radiator. But have a great blood moon. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks so much